Are you the hero that this world needs? Okay. I hear you, boys. I hear you, men. I hear you loud and clear. You're saying you want to support us, right? You know, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe that anybody is inherently evil, and I don't believe that anybody is inherently good. I believe we are like basically 50 shades of gray in a lot of ways. And no, I'm not talking about the book, but you know, if it floats your boat, hey, who am I to judge, right? I'm a Scorpio. Nothing shocks me. Okay? Nothing shocks me. People are capable of great evil, and people are capable of forgiveness beyond anything that anyone can imagine. But you know, I've been in threads, and I'm seeing a lot of angry women, and they're totally justified. Sisters, you're totally justified. And I'm going to preface that by also saying that, you know, there are good guys out there that really do want to help. They just don't know how. You know how I know they don't know how? Because I got brothers, both in my actual family and in my adopted sense, where I've adopted friends that I call my brothers. I've got dads, I've got uncles, I've got grandfathers. And you know, these evolved men they're incredible. They are intelligent, they are devoted to their wives, they would give anything for their lady in their life. Or they have this ambition of just how much they want to serve the lady when they do find that special person. They do exist. Okay? And, you know, I will also say that there are some women out there that are just really, really, really mean. And we don't need to be mean unless it's warranted. But that requires pulling the masks off. And so I already did a video on that. I do quite a lot for women's empowerment. But today I'm talking to the guys. Because if you really want to stand up for us, you know, a lot of us, we're so tired. We don't want to do the emotional labor anymore. We don't want to walk you through it over and over again. But I will. Because you know what? This is important. I feel called to do it. I want to do it. And I'm really rooting for you, okay? See, the thing is that you really need to understand we're queens. Women are queens, okay? And our kingdom is being attacked. Now, you might not see the threat as easily as we see it because the enemy may not be out on the battlefield in a way that you can actually spot them, and you don't know how to take up your sword against something that is invisible to you. Totally get it. But the threat is still there. And, you know, a lot of us, we're scared. We're even too scared to express what that threat is. So I'm going to give you the map. I'm going to tell it to you right now. We are in a society that has culturally ingrained certain phrases, certain attitudes, certain behaviors, and certain ways of being that has not been fair to women. Now, as women, we grew up seeing it. We grew up recognizing that, you know, the world we live in is the world of the slasher movie. Okay? We live in a world of the slasher movie. We don't know if we're the final girl or the one that goes out and says who's there and trusts the killer by mistake. We don't know. You're out there and you're seeing yourself in a superhero film, and it's very distinct. Bad guys, good guys, right? And you want to be the hero. Of course you do. You want to protect us. You also see powerful, heroic, superhero women, and you're like, oh, she's got this. She can take care of herself. But you know what? There's points where we're like, hey, I know you see me as this super strong person and I'm fighting and yeah, I'm standing beside you and I've got the sword and I've got my magic superpowers, but I could use a little help over here. And if you're not recognizing that we could use a little help over there, or you're not seeing the threat, that's just as bad. It's just as bad. And then on top of that, dealing with the emotional labor of constantly having to make sure we don't hurt your feelings because we actually care about you. We don't want to hurt your feelings, but we are pissed off. We are pissed off right now. There's a lot of us out there that are absolutely pissed off. And there's a lot of us out there that don't see the good men. Or we're seeing it's like, that's just not enough right now. It's not helping. You're actually making it worse. Stop it. And we can't always do it in the most kindest way. And if you're taking that on as criticism and you're not looking behind the criticism for what we're really saying, well, then it's such a problem. So the first thing you have to do, and I know it's going to be really hard. I know it's going to be really confronting. I know it's going to take everything for you not to do this. You got to stop defending yourselves right now. I'm sorry. You have to stop defending yourself. You have to stop saying, hey, I'm a good guy, and the way you're saying this is hurting my feelings. No. No. Because you know what? The enemy is using that too. The ones that are pretending to be good guys use that as a way to get us to drop our armor. And then they hurt us even worse. They're the Trojan horses that come in and we think, oh, this one's good. I'll trust this one. And then they pop out and it's just a massacre. So to not be mistaken for a Trojan horse takes something more than words. And it takes more than just wanting to help, and it takes more than just coming out with your little sword and trying to just hack and slash and not knowing where to actually hit the target. Because it's not helping. Thor's great. He's got a great giant hammer. But if he's smashing an enemy and the women in the group know that that's not going to work, and Thor just keeps hitting with the hammer, yeah, buddy, that's not going to help. No, this one's rejuvenating itself because you're not cutting off the head. You just keep stabbing. That's not going to work. You're not helping. You're making it worse. Quit setting fire to everything. It's making the monster more powerful. There's just so much that as women we see it and we just take it for granted sometimes that we think you see it too. I was guilty of this for a very long time. I'm like, I don't get how you can't see this. And I get angry with my brothers and I get angry with my dad and I get angry with people. But they really, really, they don't see it. So I get it. You don't see it. You know why you don't see it? Because typically the people that are saying those things, you're not in that fire with us. You're off doing your own thing, and I applaud you for it. I really applaud you for building something. I applaud you for putting value out there into the world. I applaud you for going out and building your dreams. But while you're doing that, your queens are at home, and we're seeing little bits of dissent in the kingdom. We're seeing the unrest. We're seeing those people that are maybe even close to you that are going to stray you wrong. I mean, there's precedent for this. If you really look into history and you look into historical dramas, there's usually The king has that one advisor that the queen does not like. She doesn't trust him. She knows he's going to steer them in a bad direction. And that advisor usually has it out for that queen and wants to get rid of that queen. I mean, Warwick, who's basically the kingmaker in history, really had it out for Elizabeth Woodville. Like, he did not like Elizabeth Woodville. He did not like the fact that Edward was married to Elizabeth Woodville. He did not like the fact that Edward was going against his advice. And he tried to sabotage. And guess what happened to him? So you really need to understand that not every guy, not every man in your friend circle, not every colleague, not every coworker who you think is a good guy is actually a good guy. That's step one. You need to be more discerning with your company that you keep. Because I guarantee you know people that are doing things that you just don't see it. So then there's a woman who comes up to you, maybe the wife of your friend or the wife of your business partner or whatever, and she says, hey, he's abusing me, or he said something really misogynistic, or he's cheating on me. It's like, no, he wouldn't do that. He's a good guy. I know him. I hang out with him all the time. Doesn't help. Now, there are some women that lie and manipulate, and again, this is why you need to be really good at pulling the masks off too. Because there's a difference between a woman who is absolutely triggered and afraid versus one who's faking it. I can spot that. I'll help you if you really want to know. I've got a whole bunch of videos on how I tore masks off of people. I can do it when I see women complain, and I can do it when I see men complain. So, I mean, I put out a little thread that basically was like a call to action. And this is your call to action in video form. That we need heroes right now. We really need heroes, especially in the US. Women need you to step up. And we need you to step up in a huge way because there are threats happening now because there's a lot of people who have become emboldened. Now, I don't even care what side you voted on. I don't care what your strategy was. And maybe you had reasons why you did why you voted the way you did, and maybe you didn't. Maybe you voted on a different side and you're just as devastated. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This isn't about politics. This isn't about strategy or economy or any of that. Right now, you have to understand that attitudes from other people that maybe you don't even identify with, they think they have a higher level of power. It's anarchy. It's chaos. It's like if the bad supervillain is suddenly in power and now all of the supervillains are running Gotham City. Remember when Bane took over? And it was literally anarchy, and they had Scarecrow basically sending people into the middle of the water, like on the ice, because they'd blown up all the bridges. Okay, you're Batman, and you're the Resistance. You've got to stand up. You've got to see it. You can't just say, well, I'm not one of the bad guys. You have to be able to actually see it. So I'm going to let you see it. One thing that intelligent people will say they will pretend that they're just defending their side and trying to make things equal. That's not what they're doing. If they're coming into the comment sections of what women are saying and asking for heroes, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to step up, but you women keep doing XYZ, there cannot be any blame, and you cannot put the mirror back on us right now. When we are speaking, we need you to listen. If you're willing to listen and not try to defend your side, we are more likely to hear you right now. The second you defend your side and put up a wall or try to put a mirror up or try to say, yeah, it's bad for men too, or all of that stuff, that is exactly what the intelligent arguments, that's what they start with. I can see it. I give it the benefit of the doubt, and then I ask a question or I say a comment that I know is deliberately going to either prove that this person is who they say they are, or they're going to suddenly pull their own mask off and start throwing a tantrum. This goes for men and women. I mean, if I'm in a group of women that are like, we all need to support our sisters, and I say, you know, our brothers are hurting, and maybe if we come at it in this direction, this might allow us to get more protection. Because yeah, I hear you, sister, like, we need support, but we can't do it alone. Because if we alienate the good guys, we are screwed. That's like the queen suddenly alienating all of her knights. No, we need reinforcements. It's going to take all of us. So, are you an ally? You really want to help? You really want to help us? You got to sit with us while we're angry. You got to sit with us while we're crying. You got to sit with us while we are tearing down other men. Maybe even men that you know. Maybe men that you looked up to. Maybe men that you thought were the real deal. And when we point out, it's like, no, that's actually misogynistic crap that was just said. You need to believe that that was misogynistic crap that was just said. Or that it was a little bit ignorant. And if you say something, and we say, hey, the way you said that actually made you sound like a chauvinistic prick. And I know you're not that. And I love you. And as your friend, like, I felt that contraction in my heart space for a moment, but I remembered you are a good person. And if you want to do better in the future, then this is why you don't want to say that anymore. And I mean, my brothers, they get curious and they're like, oh, can you tell me more about that? I didn't even think about it that way. I had no idea. That's what you're going through? Holy crap, that's even worse than I thought. Yeah. It's way worse than you think it is. If you already see how bad it is, as a man, I'm going to tell you it's actually worse. It's actually worse. Now, I'm in Canada, and fortunately, we have a lot more freedom right now. However, there are people in my country, even, that have these attitudes and would love nothing more than to see what's happening down in the U.S. happen up here. We just don't tolerate it as much because we're Canadian. We don't put up with that crap. But, like, it depends on where you are living. It depends on the social media that you consume. if you're not looking in the comment sections of the women's empowerment videos and you're just sitting there and you're watching and you're clapping for us and you're like, these women are just on point, but you're not going back and looking at the comments that men leave us, I mean, you're not going to like it. It's going to be really gross. And your first stance is going to be like, I'm so glad I'm not like that. And yeah, we're glad you're not like that too. And at the same time, you can't ignore it. Now, I'm not saying go and get in a fight with the intelligent people. You can absolutely ignore them just like we ignore them. You can absolutely block them. You can unfriend them. You can be like, hey, energy gone. We are not saying you have to engage with that. What we are saying is that if you see it and you recognize that a certain woman is getting a lot of attacks, that you're going to pay attention, you're going to follow, and you're going to make sure that that woman is okay. You're going to make sure that she's got this. You're going to also keep in mind how things could escalate and be willing to step in and be like, okay, now I'm taking out my sword. Now I'm fighting this enemy because this enemy is now a little bit too close. Because, you know, there are people that just like to yap, 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 and they're all bark and no bite. And there's a lot more of those than there are the truly dangerous ones. However, we do need you to protect us from the truly dangerous ones. Okay? Women are absolutely terrified after what's happened. We are absolutely terrified. But we've always been terrified. It's just, it's being sanctioned now. Okay? So you need to understand it's being sanctioned now. In times of peace, yeah, those people are still out there and we still have to, we still have to pay attention. But it's times of peace. It's times when you don't need to be worrying about the big army coming in to steal away all your women. Come on, look at medieval history, okay? What happens? They even said it in Troy, in the movie Troy. Like, Hector said, Eric Bana's character said to Andromache, he's like, look, here are the tunnels. You have to get everybody out to safety. If you do not do this, after I fall, if you do not protect everyone, like, you're going to be taken as a slave. They're going to throw the babies from the tower and, they're going to kill the kids. They're going to kill any child that is not worth turning into slavery, and you're going to become a slave, and you know what that is, and you don't want to do that. I'm going to fight as hard as I possibly can, but you have got to get everybody to safety. You've got to recognize that we need our escape routes. We need you to protect those escape routes. We need you to learn just how dangerous things are for us so that you can adequately plan and help us in executing that plan to build our escape routes and to protect us and stand there and guard us as we use those escape routes. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you really understand? And we need you to go into places where we don't have access. We need you to really see what others are saying about us behind closed doors and plan the resistance for it. Do you hear me? If you happen to hear it, don't just ignore it. Don't just brush it off as locker room talk. Take it seriously. Recognize that this is the kind of stuff that, it gets brushed off as a joke, but it is not a joke when it actually happens. There are some who will take it as a personal challenge and then laugh when we get pissed off. Seriously, I used to call it out all the time in school, and I'd get laughed at. And when I called it out with my ex, he laughed at me. Laughed at my anger, laughed at my rage, laughed at my pain. I was showing him how his actions were affecting me, and he laughed at my pain. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, he's growing up. So, I mean, if he's watching it all, he's growing up. Okay, I'm not tearing him down. He has done a lot of work to really see it. And he will fiercely protect our daughter. I know he will. When she is with him, he will fiercely protect her. And I'm pretty sure that if something really did go down, he would protect me too. If he absolutely had to, if I had no resources left, there's no way that he would let the mother of his children be harmed. Maybe in the past he was angry. We didn't fit well together. But I don't think that he's not capable of that. I know the difference. This is partly why it was hard to leave him in the first place, is because I knew the difference. I knew that he wouldn't actually harm me in a way that would be really bad. But I'm getting so many comments right now just from people that are like, shut up, you're dumb, you're crazy. Like, this is what they do. My brothers, this is what happens. A woman speaks her mind and she's torn down. And these people are so much bolder than they were a couple weeks ago. I saw it years ago. I saw it back in 2020. Saw it in 2016. I knew what was happening. I knew it before things went down. I knew what was going to happen. And yeah, people got bolder, even here in Canada. People were very bold in what they were saying. Misogyny hides. It hides when it's not sanctioned. But once it's sanctioned, or once it looks like it's sanctioned to the outside eye, true colors get revealed. So if you're truly different, if you're truly on our side, if you truly want peace, then you need to recognize right now that your daughters, your sisters, your beautiful feminine, we all need you. Even the most powerful warriors that you see us out there just like taking charge of life, we need you. We need your protection. And you know what? We're protecting you too. We're defending the crap out of you. Okay? I will absolutely go to bat for my brothers. Now, I may not be able to take up a sword unless I really, really have to, but I mean, believe me, if somebody comes after my son, I'm picking up a sword. Nobody hurts my baby boy. Somebody comes after my brother, you answer to me. Somebody comes after my dad, you answer to me. I've been very fiercely protective of my dad since I was a little girl. I've been very fiercely protective of my brother since I was a little girl. I've been very fiercely protective of my son ever since he was born. And I will continue to protect, and I will continue to defend, and I will continue to basically ensure that you don't get caught in the crossfire. Because if you're out there swinging your sword, I want you to actually hit the target. I don't want you to become the target. Men and women need each other. Powerful, strong women need powerful, strong men to stand beside them. Because when you're strong together, you stand against all of the evils. When you stand together, being the key word, you have strengths, we have strengths. We have intuition. We're very tapped into our intuition. If you tap into our intuition by being like, okay, I'm the warrior. I don't really know the battlefield as well as you do. I don't know all of the little subtle nuances as well as you do. Here is my plan. Tell me where the holes are in it so that I don't accidentally get myself killed on the battlefield. Because we don't want you killed on the battlefield. This is a person I'm trusting. Are they really trustworthy, or have you heard things? Do you sense something about their energy? Is there something I'm not seeing? We love you, we'll protect you. So stand up for us. Because we really need heroes right now. We're really calling in Batman. We're calling in Superman. We're calling in Spider-Man. We're calling in Iron Man. We're calling in Thor. We're calling in the heroes. I mean, there's so many more. Hell, I'll call in Deadpool. I mean, he's a little rough around the edges, but I'll call in Deadpool. At the end of the day, Deadpool will absolutely sacrifice himself to save the world. Now, he didn't end up sacrificing himself, spoiler, sorry, but it's Deadpool. We'll root for the anti-heroes. You still have heart? Still have soul? Can you really see it? You gonna stand up and fight? One thing I love about Damon Salvatore is that he can go from ripping somebody's throat out and being all like blasé about it, but you touch one hair on Elena Gilbert's head, or Bonnie Bennett's head, or Caroline, you mess with any of those women, and oh, you're screwed. You're screwed. Damon protects his own. Be like Damon Salvatore. Protect your own. See the injustice and don't stand for it. Okay? Anyway, that is my soapbox. That is my little map, my tutorial. If you want more, you know to always reach out to me, or you can go and check out some of my other videos, which is where I'm putting most of my magic, by the way. He's on my YouTube channel, because this way I have my pinnacle stream of consciousness, and then you can go back and you can just pick through whatever you need to know, and then I don't have to keep saying it over and over again, because you know what? This warrior goddess does get tired, and she does lay down her sword, and she does rest, and she does turn to her brothers and to her dads and to the men in her life, and she turns to the women, and she shores up her resources. This powerful queen is commanding her kingdom and shoring up those resources. But make no mistake, I'm also calling in my king. And you know, today marks 4 years since I actually got in front of him on camera. And he actually saw me. It was a good day. I didn't quite know what I'd found yet, but I knew there was something about him. There was something special, something magnificent, something about that true warrior presence, that magical king, a god among men, at least in my eyes. And yeah, we know, women, once we step into our true power, we can see you. We know where you're at. We know where you need to go to rise up to your full potential. And we also know when it's time to take our energy away because you are choosing to shoot yourself in the foot and dig yourself into a hole, and you're not stepping up, and you're blaming everybody else around you, and you're whining and you're complaining. And you know what? We work with men, not little boys throwing a tantrum. So if you're a man, and you're a real man, and you're not offended by the term real man because you know that it doesn't actually mean that we want to control you or manipulate you, but actually have you stand beside us and be worthy of our energy, because that is what we mean, and you know that. But some people get triggered by it, and I can't help that. And honestly, I just find it amusing these days. Well, you know the map. I gave it to you. Go hang out in the women's threads. Watch. But don't just watch. Applaud us. Stand with us. Comment. Share your insights. Share your wisdom. But do it from a place of being humble and open to learning, and even open to us misunderstanding you right now. Be okay with our anger. Be okay with our frustration. I mean, there's a lot of men right now that are on their platforms, and I mean, I don't know if they're all saying it just to get likes or if they're saying it for real. I mean, I'd have to play with that a little bit more, and I can't pull the masks off of everyone, you know. I'd rather I teach a lot of women how to do it, because then if we can do it, we can protect ourselves even better. And I'd love to teach some men how to do it so that they can actually know who their true brothers are and who needs to be kind of pushed out of the clubhouse for a bit, be on their own. Recognize that that behavior will not be tolerated in the clubhouse anymore. This is not the He-Man Woman Haters Club. And anybody who's trying to turn things into a He-Man Woman Haters Club needs to go for a timeout. It's okay to put them in a timeout. They need the timeout. They really need it. There's some women that need the timeout too. Some of us just really need a timeout, and some of us need to take a nap. And those of us, though, that are out speaking with our hearts open and our power, well, we're going to trigger people no matter what. We know that. Yeah, you're going to trigger people. Yeah, you're going to piss people off. Go watch one of my other videos about the art of pissing people off. It's for a good cause. It's to help pull off masks. It's to win. We will win. This isn't about politics. This isn't about a war between men and women. This is a war between what is kind and respectful and going to support everyone versus what is going to destroy people. Even those with the most intelligent arguments, they are capable of growing up. They just have to save themselves. There's a point where you just let them just keep digging that hole. You just shrug your shoulders and be like, okay, as long as they want to keep digging that hole, you know what? Nobody's around anymore. Nobody's playing, nobody's rescuing them. They're going to either figure it out themselves or survival of the fittest. There's actually a scene that's coming to mind right now. I don't know if you've seen the movie Tarzan, but in this movie, And there's a villain, a real chauvinistic poacher, who is pretending to just be a guide for this this researcher and his daughter, and be like, oh, well, you need protection from the animals, like the gorillas and wildlife and everything, so I'll go with you. But his motives were actually to find the nest of gorillas that these researchers just wanted to study these animals, and then kidnap them and take them overseas. And at one point, Tarzan is watching as Clayton, this guy's name is, he's trapped in the vines. Okay, so he's been trapped in a whole bunch of vines, and he gets really pissed off and he starts hacking away at the vines. Now Tarzan, even though he knows that this guy was trying to kill him and trying to kill his family and he was a bad guy, he still did not want to see what happened. And there's a silhouette of the shadow of what happens. So basically the vine gets around his neck, and he's got all these other vines that he's hacking and slashing at. You get my drift of how this villain ends up meeting his end? Or what about Gaston? The beast was going to let Gaston go. But what does Gaston want to do? He goes and stabs the beast. And then what happens? Oh, he falls off the cliff. Some people are just determined to fall off that cliff. And I say we let them. That might sound cold, but when you have pulled their mask off, shown them, and shown others, and everybody else is starting to be like, okay, I'm going to distance myself from this person because I need to protect myself, and I'm not going to keep trying to rescue them, because obviously everybody who tries to rescue them, they don't want it. They'll either learn and stop themselves from falling and realize just how quick they were to, like, it'd be over for them, or better luck next life. Maybe you'll learn in your next life. It's sad, it's tragic, but you know, it's the way it is. It's really the way it is. I'm not here to save anybody. Honestly. I'm really not. I gave up saving a long time ago. I used to be in the energy of trying to save people from things. But then I recognized the only one who can really save you is yourself. If you're determined to continue to go down paths that it's not working, if your heart's not going to be open, you lose people because you block yourself from them. You hurt people and they walk away. Those with the open hearts really hope you heal. They hope you grow up. But now when I'm on my threads and things and I pull a mask off and I try, I point out. But then if I get fire and hatred back from trying to point something out, and doing it in a very benevolent way, by the way. It's not like I'm nasty about it. But the second somebody decides to take my generosity and throw it right back at me and tell me how I'm bad and wrong and how all women are bad and wrong and blah, 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 whine, 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 bitch, 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 I'm like, oh, okay. Block. I see you. You're not ready. Block. Just like I did as a mom. I do it all the time. I will point to my kids. It's like, look, I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. So until you are ready to talk to me in the way that I deserve to be talked to, I'm putting on my headphones and I'm going to work on stuff. And then they say, no, mommy, I'll be good. And I'm like, okay. In 5 minutes, I'll reconsider your request. You suck, mommy, you suck, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, you're not ready. All right. I'll wait till you're ready. After all, I'm not going to give up on my kids. That's different. You don't give up on your kids. I'll wait for my kids to be ready, but I will hold that boundary with them. I no longer rescue my kids either from their own mistakes. So, yeah. Anyway, I have a whole bunch of thread responses to look at, see how many other masks I've pulled off, and how many can actually become allies, how many get it, how many don't. As a reflector, this is part of what I do. I don't say what society wants to hear, I say what needs to be said, based on the energy that I'm sampling. And I'm a Scorpio at that. So I don't sugarcoat it. And I don't tolerate BS. And it's Scorpio season. So I got work to do. Anyway, the onus is on you to reach out if you want to know more, or to go and check out my channel, or to just go out there and implement what you've learned. Because action speaks louder than words. And this is me taking action while still protecting my energy. I don't have to be out in the crossfire. I can be right here from my throne, commanding like the queen that I know I am. And I'm going to invite other queens to do the same, and I'm going to invite kings to do the same. You don't have to be out in the battle to still be a hero. Because sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is inspire others to join you, so you're not fighting alone. So, go find your rest of your heroes. Go find your Avengers. Go find your Justice League. And get rid of anybody who is trying to infiltrate and disband your Justice League. And I'll be here, cheering you on. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.